Welcome to Whispering Tales TV, where we unravel captivating stories that will leave you spellbound. Join our community by sharing your own tales at whisperingtalestv@gmail.com. And let's embark on a journey of imagination together. Story 1. The Midnight Brew. It was a night like no other, rain pelting against the windows of the old Starbucks cafe. Inside, the warm glow of the lights offered a sanctuary from the relentless storm. Three friends, Mia, Chris, and Alex, sought refuge in their favorite spot, tucked away in a corner booth. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the earthy scent of wet pavement, creating a cocoon of comfort within the cafe. They laughed and shared stories, their voices a soothing counterpoint to the symphony of raindrops against the glass. As the hours passed, the cafe grew quieter, the other patrons retreating to the shelter of their homes. Mia, Chris, and Alex were the sole occupants, their mugs now replaced with cold remnants of forgotten drinks. Just as they were contemplating calling it a night, a peculiar sound reached their ears. It was a soft, melodic tune, almost like a lullaby. They exchanged puzzled glances, trying to pinpoint its source. "It's probably just the wind," Chris suggested, though the uncertainty in his voice was evident. Mita's eyes darted around the cafe, finally settling on an old jukebox tucked away in the corner. Its lights flickered faintly, casting eerie shadows on the floor. She approached it cautiously, as if it held the answers to a mystery she couldn't quite grasp. With a hesitant finger, she pressed a button, selecting a song at random. The jukebox whirred to life, the music filling the cafe with an ethereal melody. It was a tune neither of them recognized, haunting and beautiful in its simplicity. As they listened, an odd sensation settled over them. It was as if the world outside had faded away, leaving them suspended in a timeless moment. The rain outside seemed to harmonize with the melody, creating a surreal symphony. Suddenly, the lights in the cafe flickered and dimmed, casting long, stretching shadows across the floor. The music continued, but it had taken on a more mournful tone, its notes tinged with a melancholic urgency. A shiver ran down Maya's spine. She turned to Chris and Alex, their faces pale in the dim light. "We should leave," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. They nodded in silent agreement, their movements slow and deliberate as they made their way towards the exit. But just as they reached for the door handle, a voice, soft yet filled with an eerie resonance, echoed through the cafe. "Don't go," it whispered, sending chills down their spines. They turned, their eyes wide with terror, but the cafe was empty. The voice seemed to emanate from the very walls, as if it were a part of the building itself. With hearts pounding, they fled into the rain-soaked night, leaving behind the haunted cafe. The melody still echoed in their ears, a haunting reminder of the night they encountered something beyond their understanding. As they walked away, drenched and shaken, they couldn't help but glance back at the cafe. Its windows were dark, but they knew that within those walls, a presence lingered, forever bound to the haunting melody of the jukebox. Story 2. The Barista's Lament. The raining beat against the windows of the Starbucks cafe, creating a rhythmic cadence that echoed through the empty space. Inside, the scent of coffee hung heavy in the air, a comforting contrast to the tempest outside. It was a night like any other for Emma, the lone barista on the late shift. As she wiped down the counters and prepared for closing, a feeling of unease settled over her. She couldn't shake the sensation that she was being watched, that unseen eyes bore into her from the shadows. Brushing it off as fatigue, she turned her attention to the task at hand. The cafe was eerily quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the espresso machine. The other employees had long gone, leaving her to navigate the night alone. Just as she was about to lock up, a strange sight caught her eye. A figure, cloaked in darkness, stood just beyond the glow of the streetlights. Their presence seemed to defy explanation, a phantom lingering on the edge of reality. Emma's heart raced, her breaths shallow and rapid. She tried to call out, but her voice caught in her throat. The figure took a tentative step forward, their movements deliberate and measured. In a surge of panic, Emma fumbled for her phone, her trembling fingers struggling to dial the numbers. She managed to reach the police, her voice trembling as she described the intruder. Minutes felt like hours as she waited, the figure never once breaking his gaze. And then, as if summoned by her plea, the police arrived, their lights slicing through the darkness. But when they entered the cafe, it was empty. The figure had vanished, leaving behind no trace of his presence. Emma's breaths came in ragged gasps as she tried to make sense of what had just transpired. The police searched the area, but there was no sign of the mysterious intruder. They assured Emma that it was likely a passerby, a trick of the shadows. But she knew what she had seen, knew that there was something otherworldly about the figure. As the night drew to a close, Emma locked up the cafe, her hands still trembling. She couldn't shake the feeling that the presence still lingered, watching from the shadows. From that night on, Emma couldn't return to the cafe after dark. The memory of the figure haunted her, a ghostly reminder that some mysteries were never meant to be unraveled. And as she walked away, she couldn't help but glance back at the darkened windows, wondering if the figure still stood there, waiting for something only it understood. Story 3. The Whispering Beans. The rain tapped a staccato rhythm on the windows of the Starbucks cafe, creating a soothing backdrop to the otherwise silent night. Inside, Sarah, a writer seeking inspiration, sat huddled in a corner, her laptop open before her. The warm aroma of coffee mingled with the scent of rain-soaked earth, creating a cocoon of comfort. As Sarah typed away, lost in the world of her words, she began to notice a faint, almost imperceptible sound. It was a soft, rhythmic whisper, like a secret shared between friends. She glanced around, searching for the source, but the cafe was empty, save for herself. She dismissed it as her imagination, a byproduct of a writer's overactive mind. But as the whispers grew more insistent, she couldn't deny their presence. They seemed to come from the very walls. An echo of something long forgotten. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as Sarah rose from her seat, determined to uncover the mystery. She followed the sound, her footsteps muted by the thick carpeting. The whispers grew louder, their cadence almost musical. She found herself standing before a towering display of coffee beans, each bag meticulously arranged. The whispering seemed to emanate from them, as if the beans themselves held some ancient secret. With trembling hands, Sarah reached out and touched the beans. As her fingers made contact, the whispers crescendoed, their voices overlapping and intertwining. It was a language she couldn't understand, a symphony of the unknown. Suddenly, the lights in the cafe flickered and dimmed, casting long, dancing shadows on the floor. The whispers took on an urgent tone, a plea that seemed to reverberate within Sarah's very soul. In a surge of panic, she withdrew her hand. Stumbling back from the display, the whispers subsided, leaving behind a suffocating silence. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. As she stood there, trying to make sense of the surreal experience, she noticed something peculiar. The display of beans had shifted, their neat arrangement replaced by a chaotic jumble. It was as if some unseen force had rearranged them, leaving behind a cryptic message. Terrified yet inexplicably drawn, Sarah snapped a photo of the altar display, her hands still trembling. She knew that what she had witnessed was beyond rational explanation. From that night on, Sarah couldn't shake the memory of the whispering beans. She delved into research, seeking to uncover the secrets that lurked within the cafe's walls. But the more she learned, the deeper the mystery became. As she left the cafe that night, the rain still falling in a gentle cascade, Sarah couldn't help but glance back at the display of beans. They seemed to hold a secret that transcended the boundaries of understanding, a message from a realm beyond her comprehension. And she knew that the whispers would forever echo in the recesses of her mind, a haunting reminder of that fateful night in the Starbucks cafe. Thank you for watching Whispering Tales TV. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join our community of fellow thrill seekers. Get ready for spine-tingling stories that will keep you up at night. Let the Whispering Tales begin.